All right, everybody, happy Friday. You've been working on your review problems, so I'm just going to go over this quickly so that you know you have all the right answers. So for the slope formula, we know that the slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in our 2 points, we have x1, y1 and x2, y2. So for number 1, we should have 6 minus negative 2 over negative 21 minus negative 7. So this becomes 8 over negative 14, which reduces to 4 over negative 7. So make sure you are always reducing your slopes and simplifying them. For number 2, we should have 43 minus negative 5 over 23 minus 11. This should be 48 over 12, which reduces to 4, or 4 over 1 would also be correct. Number 3, we have 14 minus 14, and we have negative 1 minus negative 9. So right away, as soon as we see 14 minus 14 in the numerator, we know that we have a 0 in the numerator, which is always going to result in 0. So our slope for number 3 is 0. For number 4, we have 9 minus 5 over 8 minus 8. So in this case, we have a 0 in the denominator. If 0 is under the line, it is undefined. So make sure you are saying that your final answer is undefined. That is an undefined slope. All right, great. If you could pull out your notes that we started yesterday, I am going to finish those for you. So for the directions for number 2 and 4, we have to leave our answer in slope-intercept form. So that's going to look like y equals mx plus b. So the first thing we have to do is find the slope. So for number 2, we should have 1 minus 4 over 2 minus negative 4. This becomes negative 3 over 6, which reduces to negative 1/2. So there's our slope. Then we're going to use point slope form for our second step. Now it doesn't matter which point you use. I tend to use the first one, but it's your choice. So we have y minus y1, which is 4, equals m, which we just found is negative 1/2, parentheses x minus x1, which is a negative 4. So to clean this up a little bit, that minus negative becomes plus plus. And we are going to distribute. So now we have y minus 4 equals negative 1/2 x minus 2. And then the last thing to get y by itself is to add 4 to both sides. So that's going to leave us with y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. So there's your final answer in slope-intercept form. Let's try number 4. So first thing we need is slope. So we need to use slope formula. We have 0 minus 1 in the numerator, 3 minus 0 in the denominator, which gives us negative 1/3, and that is reduced. So there's our slope. Now our second step is to use point slope form. I'm going to use the first point again. Y minus y1 equals m, parentheses, x minus x1. Now we distribute. Y minus 1 equals negative 1/3 x. And then that's just plus 0, so we really don't have to write that. Last thing we do is add 1 to both sides. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 1. So there is our final answer in slope-intercept form. Great. All right, now I'm moving down to number 6. So the directions for this section said to leave the final answer in general form. So general form was ax plus by plus c equals 0. So that means we need all of our terms on one side and just 0 on the other. So as always, the first thing we need to do is find slope. Now, if I start to use the slope formula, I'm going to notice that I have -6 minus -6 in the top. Technically, a -3 minus 2 in the bottom. My minus negative becomes a plus plus, and I realize I'm getting 0 in the numerator, which means my slope is 0. Now, if we continue with our steps, we would need to use point slope form. I'll use the second point this time. So y minus y1 equals m, which is 0, x minus x1. Now think about this. I cleaned up my minus negatives first, but if we are going to distribute that 0, it's just all going to become 0. So this is y plus 6 equals 0. Now we need this answer in general form, so we are not going to do anything else because we wanted everything on one side and just 0 on the other. So this is our answer in general form. Now there is a shorter way to do this one. If you noticed that our y values were the same, we talked about that is a little hint that your line would be y equals -6. So if you noticed that trick, that would be great. Just remember that you still do need it in general form. So all you would have to do is add 6 to both sides to make it look like the y plus 6 equals 0. So either way, if you do it with our 3 steps or you do the shortcut, you will get the correct answer. Okay. Going to look down at the last section. These are the shortcut ones. We want to find the horizontal or vertical line. So you're looking for the same number in either the x value or the y value. So for number 8, your y values are the same. They're both 5. So that means the line is y equals 5. For number 10, our x values are the same. So that means our equation is x equals 4. And for number 12, our x values are the same. So our line is x equals 7. All right, so what you guys are going to do now is you're going to do a couple practice problems. And you are going to get a sheet from Mrs. Penny that looks like this. It has a different area for 6 different questions. There is a back. We'll worry about that later. But the front side has spaces for 6 questions. There are little problems on purple construction paper around the room. So your job is to find those 6 problems on the purple construction paper around the room and complete them on this sheet of paper. Each problem is numbered. So if you happen to find problem number 3 first, that's fine. You can do it first. Just make sure you do it in the 3 block. After you do these 6 problems, you can show Mrs. Penny your work, and then you'll be able to start your homework, which is number 11 through 14 on the Finding Equations worksheet that you started yesterday. So you already have that sheet. If you don't have it, it is in the geometry shelves, the green shelves from yesterday. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and you'll have another video on Monday.